Seagulls Social, episode 19. I'm your host, Maz, and of course I'm joined by my lovely co-hosts, Ben and Ryan. How are we doing, chaps? We all good?
We won!
We won a game. I tell you what, I've never been that down about a win before. Oh my god!
I'm not taking that as a dub, by the way.
What a mess!
But the thing is, well, let's start straight away from that tweet. I think you found, Ben, didn't you? It was the one that we posted on our Instagram story. I can't actually find it right now, but it basically was saying that if you compare the performance to, let's say, Leeds, who lost to Crawley 3-0, and then us, no, but I mean,
the Newport history in the cup as well.
Had to get that in there.
Yeah,
just get that in there
straight away had to get that in. No, but and then if you compare that to the fact that it wasn't the best performance, but we still got through it. We looked comfortable, really. We didn't. They didn't threaten us, to be honest. And then we had an absolute howler from Steele, which we'll get into. But yeah, on the grand scheme of things, if you actually look at it, we progressed from the cup that clubs like Leeds haven't, and we look comfortable throughout. So
and if you look at us, you can tell that if you're watching it on YouTube, we're all wearing Brighton jerseys. So
yes, yeah.
I shouldn't say jerseys, but yeah, Brighton
jerseys.
Training kits.
We're gonna get
basically what happened was I just felt like wearing it because I had it just to hand. And then the other boys were like, "Maz, you look so good in your top. We want it all."
Oh yeah, that is literally what happened. That is what happened. Word for word, he is spot on there.
Yeah, so basically they all both got jealous and were like, "Yeah, Maz, we want to look as good as you."
And now we all look like twats. Yeah. So.
And I'm going to outperform you in the same top, so
Yeah, we all look like bellends. So yeah, if anyone's watching on YouTube, just let us know how much of a
how bad we look.
Comments.
We didn't want Maz to go down on his own, so we thought me and Ryan, as mates,
I appreciate it, boys.
We'd back him and we look
that.
like mugs together. So.
I want to see a ranking of Maz, Ben, Ryan, and see who gets the best one.
Well, I think I'll definitely be the best because you two are in the same fucking top. So you two have an absolute.
Hold on. All right, let's just clarify. I bought it first,
Show
yeah, but anyway, right. We all look like bellends, and we're ready to get into the game. So let's just start off straight away off the bat. The pitch wasn't great, was it, lads? It was an absolute.
Jesus Christ!
Shocking.
The magic of the FA Cup.
Yeah,
Jesus.
Who decides to play a rugby match 24 hours before the football? I know it's a ground chair. But surely they can do a kind of like a fixture, turnaround, whatever it is.
I'm not even joking. The park next to my house is literally better than that.
Yeah, I was going to say. I'll play you better pitches. That was insane. There's sand. There's probably more sand and mud than grass on that pitch. It was atrocious.
It was like a sand pit, wasn't it? Just a big old sand pit. So straight off the bat, so we were at a disadvantage because we actually like to play football. Not saying Newport don't, but we do rely on our passing and getting the ball around the pitch. So that didn't help us whatsoever. And it's what you expect in it. When you go to a lower league team, you sort of expect to have a bit of a shit pitch, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But yeah, what was your overall sort of? Let's start with you, Ben. What was your overall thoughts on the game as a whole?
So yeah, I think like we touched on earlier, it was pretty comfortable, wasn't it? Obviously, we didn't score, and we were finding it difficult, as we usually do, to get to that final third and get that cutting edge. But compared to other games, I thought we were actually struggling a bit more. Like we were actually struggling to create those goal chances due to the pitch. I hate blaming the pitch, and people are going to ridicule us for blaming it on the pitch, but the fact that it was so frozen.
TV.
Yeah, that's what I was literally thinking. Sound like Ty.
Yeah, he probably would. But yeah, we looked comfortable. And then it was
the rain, I think.
The rain, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And then obviously comfortable the whole game. I think Jason Steele probably got too comfortable in the 96th minute. God knows why it got to 96, even though it's +4. Yeah, that happens. But overall it was comfortable. But even Graham Potter hit it on the head, didn't he? He said in his interview, it was traumatic, and I think that's the best way to describe the game, despite us being comfortable the whole game.
Right, Ryan, anything to add on to
that? Yeah, well, as you say, we played okay, didn't we? The thing was that probably not only surprised me, but sort of disappointed me was the way we didn't really look threatening to them. I mean, the best chance of the first half went to Newport. I mean, the dunk mistake early on, and then I think the Jason Steele one as well. He made another mistake, didn't he? It was a poor back pass, though. To be fair,
yeah.
So yeah, they had a couple of good chances, and it was just like, God, that was a bit of a scare. And yeah, I think the thing that got me, as I say, is just we didn't really create much. I mean, Zakiri had a good chance, didn't he, with his like little bicycle kick-esque thing, which was it's a good attempt, to be fair to him. Yeah, it's a really good save.
Yeah, shout out to the keeper.
But yeah,
he was so good.
Oh God, yeah, that keeper was on steroids. Can we sign him? Because, we could do with him. It was just, as I say, it was all possession, not much threat, and I think that's what probably disappointed me more than anything, considering we're playing Newport at the end of the day. We're not playing Manchester City, which will be on Wednesday. So yeah, it was a bit of a concerning one, considering the team we had out. I've got to be honest.
Yeah. It was just so hard to play. Sorry, Baz. It was just so hard to play along the ground like we usually would. So we were having to go for these balls into the box, and their defenders are so much bigger than ours, so they were always going to clear them away. And we were finding it so hard to deal with the bobble. I'll say Basuma looked like he was playing on a normal pitch. He was class.
Yeah,
so I'll give him props. But I think we did struggle playing on that pitch, unfortunately.
Yeah, no. I think that's the big thing for me was obviously going into the game. As much as we said, potential Newport, shock. We obviously saw Crawley earlier in the day as well. It could have easily turned into an FA Cup upset, and it was very close as well. So but I think what frustrated me the most, I think personally, was just like going into that game. You want to do what Tottenham did. I know it was a much lower opposition in Marine, but you want to go and do what Tottenham did and beat spank a team 4-5-0 and just get that. Just be assertive the whole game, dominate it all.
Look like the Premier League club.
Yeah, exactly. And I felt like we didn't do that, which was my only sort of slight criticism. But at the end of the day, the way I'm looking at it is, we survived it. We got through. We're in the next round. So at the end of the day, that's all.
At least we're not Leeds.
Yeah, exactly. At least we're not Leeds. So talking about, we alluded to a few of the chances as well. They had their fair chances in the first half. Was there any point, boys, do you reckon, that we sat there and thought, oh, this could be a Crawley to Leeds, or a big cup set coming on, or were you quite comfortable throughout?
The only moment I thought that we were actually if it was going to be an upset, was when the ball was looping over Jason Steele's head. That's the only moment where I was like, oh my God, this is actually about to happen. I'm preparing for the messages from my mates going, you can see it, blah, blah.
Yeah, banter club.
Yeah, banter club. You're so shit. You're from Brighton as well. Oh, just mute myself by accident. You're from Brighton as well, mate. So why are you rinsing your own home club? God, I had such beef with some mates the other day. But yeah, that was the only moment when I actually thought, oh, this could be a proper upset here. What about you, Ryan?
I mean, I've got to admit, the longer it was going on while we weren't scoring, I was getting more and more like, they're going to nick this. They're going to nick this. They've got these big 6'5" guys. I think back post header, it's curtains. I was just getting those sort of visions, as I say, that whenever we play a small club away in these cup games, we always get beaten by them, or we have a struggle against them. We can't just prove that we are the better team.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
And the longer that was going on, I was like, "Oh God, it's going to happen, isn't it?" You just know it is. And then when March scored, I thought, "Thank God for that. We've got away with it. We haven't played probably our best, but considering the circumstances of the pitch and all that stuff, it's a good goal from Solly. And you'd think after 90 minutes we should be holding on to that. But we still managed to throw away in typical Brighton fashion.
Okay, but before we get into Jason Steele, before we get into him, let's just quickly talk about Solly March, because for me personally, I want to bring him up because me personally, and I don't know about you two, but I personally sort of throughout the years I've said he's not Premier League standard. He's not the best, etc., etc. But this last season, genuinely, I think he's hands down our best player, sort of maybe alongside Basuma. I feel like he is our stand-up player. And the fact he's developed so much and he's doing so well. My question to you boys is, let's start with you, Ryan. What do you think changed from last season to now? What do you think he's improved, or what was it, the switch that made him what he is today?
I think he's just found his position. I think, Graham's found his strength. And I think the thing that we probably saw before Potter come in, and even last season, really, I don't think he really knew his own strengths, really. He was I always had the feeling with March that he wasn't fully interested. And that's probably why he didn't, we saw the glimpses of what he can do. Sometimes that one against Man United sticks out in particular with that ball across and Murray sort of chipped De Gea. We saw those glimpses of him able to take on players and put across in the box, but it would come round all too, little. And I think that's another problem with Trossard. It's like they're that sort of, I'm not interested today. My shoulders are going to be down. And I think Solly's found his position now, left wing back. As I say, it suits him really well, and he's been genuinely probably our definitely most improved player this season, and probably for me, player of the season so far. I put him above Bissouma now.
I think partly, that's definitely down to it, and also the fact that he's now obviously getting consistent games. I think he's always had a few injuries here and there, so like he'd have a decent run, then he'll come back and he won't be at his playing the way he was previously. But he's been playing so consistently now. He hasn't had any injuries really, so that's definitely played a massive part. And it's mad that again, like 2 wing backs are like our best players at our club. That just shows where the problems are. You should be talking about Solly, March, or that type of your best player as a striker. Normally, if you're a good team, you talk about your striker being your best player. But the fact we talk about our wing backs and centre mids being our best players, it's a bit of an alarming thing.
Yeah, I think Ryan hit that. Oh, go on, Ryan.
I was going to say, as you say that, you only have to look at the state of those penalties to see the problem at the moment. Yeah. The way we cannot hit a barn door, like seriously, that was seriously worrying. It was like when I was watching that, I was thinking I can do better than this, and I'm not even joking. It was really bad.
That stat on our penalty shootouts, haven't we won like 8 in our last 10? I think
it's 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I cannot believe
that. When did that happen? I thought we were running.
It's one of those stats. I think it's one of those stats that sort of just goes under the radar. You just don't really think about it. And like every time it sort of just racks up. But just quickly going back to Solly, I think, Ryan, you hit the nail on the head for me, is the fact that I think he's found his position now and all his attributes. So he's great, as we know, he's extremely fit, not in the physical form. He's got a great left peg. And I think at left wing back, that's all you need. You need a good strong runner. He's defensively decent. Attacking, he's very good. Puts in a great cross, and I think he's got all the attributes to be a great left wing back, which is the position he's playing. And I think Ryan, you're spot on. I think now he's found that left wing back position, and you also alluded to Trossard, and I think because of the fact he's been he's usually inside forward kind of player, isn't he, or like out wide or whatever. I think he's been in a lot of different positions, and that's why I think he's been poor. Like he's been very, very poor.
Can't find consistency being played in all these different positions.
Well, no, exactly, and that's one of his, I suppose, sort of sticking up for him in a way, because I've been his biggest sort of critic to Trossard. Yeah, fair play to him. He hasn't actually, played in maybe his preferred position and consistently as well. But yeah, just sort of going back to the
when you say Solly with his defensive attributes, I think that was always clear. Where even under Chris Hughton, he was always the one to track back, if you like, because I remember him and Knockout on either wing, and it would always be Knockout wouldn't always come back. He'd, if he was up for it, he was up for it, but he wasn't always up for it, And I think with March, he was always, you could clearly see he was good at defending because he had come back and he had put in the challenges and put in the blocks and stuff. And I think you could probably see from that point maybe that he should have been that left wing back. I don't think he should be cancelling out his attacking role, which is probably why left wing back suits him so well. But then even now, if we take him out of left wing back and we put him in, further up, I don't think he's as useful.
No, I agree. I think literally his perfect position and where he should stay for forever is that left wing back position because it's a perfect blend of the two. Like you said, he's not incredible going forward, and he's not like the best. He's clearly not the best defender in the world. So yeah, he has the perfect balance to have the two attributes or like the two positions.
That to Potter as well though for making him that player in his system as well. 100%. So obviously since Potter's come along, that's when he's been consistently played at left wing back. So it's down to Potter's decision for make it. So that's one of Potter's positives, one of few positives. I suppose. He's taken over. He's made Solly into the player we want him.
And let's talk about that then, because you mentioned Potter. One of the positive things. So one big question mark. Well, myself and I'm sure a lot of fans as well were asking before the game was how come Matty Ryan isn't starting over Jason Steele? And Ryan, you made a good point of we were on a podcast earlier on a Man City one, and Ryan made a good point of is it because Ryan's out the door? Is he going to leave? Is that the big factor in why? Do you think that is the reason, Ben? Like because he's not basically going to be at the club, he's giving Jason Steele a run of games?
Yeah, it seems that way. It seems like he's gone from first choice to third choice. You think you'd go first or second, and then if you're that bad, you go to third. But Jason Steele somehow kept us. Yeah, he's gone straight to third, which is quite mad. So I think he will be. Well, I'll be surprised if he doesn't go in January because he's 28. Prime years. I know keepers normally going for longer, but you'd think you'd want to be leaving in January to find yourself at a good club.
I think he mentioned, didn't he, one of the articles already, he wants to stay and fight
for
his
place.
place.
Yeah, he wants to fight for his place. So, out of respect for the club, wasn't it?
Until he goes, though, wasn't it? I think I think he wants to stay and fight unless a reasonable offer comes in.
He's been a professional nonetheless, though. Like I've got a lot of respect for him, the way he's handled it.
And also, remember when we had Casper Ankelgren on the pod, and he mentioned, didn't he? He talked about being a third choice keeper and a second choice keeper, and how that sort of mentally affects. Yeah, and how that can be. Yeah, and how big of a factor that is. So yeah, it's definitely interesting. Like I was a bit like, why is Matty Ryan not starting over, in an FA Cup game? But yeah, I think it all stems down to basically he's leaving, and so Potter's just thinking, well, let's give Steele a bit more playing time, and let's talk about Steele.
So on the goalkeeping topic, I saw a stat on this Premier League review or the preview of the City game before the Brighton game was on TV on BT, and it said that we've faced the third fewest shots on goal in the league. Only City and Liverpool are above us. So our average is about 8 shots per game or something like that, which is quite mad considering how bad we are. Potter's system is obviously showing that we're defensively sound until all these players are making these stupid mistakes. Like most of the goals we concede are ridiculous mistakes. They're not worldy goals. They don't get scored against us really. So that's just down to the players making mistakes. Yeah. So I just thought that was quite a mad stat that we're third fewest.
That is nuts. But then also isn't Ryan got one of the worst shot? Well,
that's what I'm saying. So then it's down to the keeper.
So then it's down to the keeper.
Yeah.
No, that is mad. That is mad. That is a mad stat. But yeah, and to be fair to Jason Steele, he literally went from 0 to hero. He had. Let's not sort of shy away from it. He had an absolute clanger the last minute of the game where he basically absolutely mistimed his punch, and it was an OG and really unlucky for Webster. That's got to go down on his record now as an OG. But really,
he was great as well yesterday.
He was really good. He was really
finally playing his level at League 2. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No, shut up.
I'm kidding. Webdini.
I won't have any Webdini slander, mate. He's unreal. He played class yesterday. I thought he was one of our best players yesterday. He's really good. But then let's talk about why do you think? Like at that minute, you're saying. I know, obviously, maybe we shouldn't have got that far because he was, I think, 94 minutes plus. But at that minute, right, 96 minutes. Why is it such a lack of concentration? Especially from the goalkeeper. But then you could argue, defensively, why was the cross able to come in? Why were we not, seeing that game out? Is it like a mentality thing at the moment where we're low on confidence, or is it just was it just one of those moments in the FA Cups? I suppose.
I think it's a confidence thing. I mean, you look at the state of that goal all round; it was just pretty.
It was
awful.
a shambles.
I mean, it was, and you just think like. I don't know, because as we said before about us seeming to throw games, we just can't hold on to a lead to save our lives. And I don't know what it is. I think, as you say, maybe confidence. It's so frustrating for fans because when we go 1-0 up against a Newport side in League 2, we should be thinking, that's it. We've got 5 minutes left of this game, regardless of these, sub time or whatever it's going to be to add on to the extra time. We should not be conceding after that, regardless of the state of the goal. We should not be doing that against League 2 Newport.
It might sound ridiculous. But when they bring on like someone's dad who's just dropped his son off at karate training, and like 42-year-old Ellison comes on in like 93rd minute, Lewis Dunk's joking around with him.
I saw that. Yeah.
Their concentration must have dropped. Like if Lewis Dunk's joking around with him, they're laughing. This is a nice touch. They're bringing on a 42-year-old bloke for the last minute or so. Kind of relaxed now, and maybe that it might sound ridiculous, but maybe that did play a part. Maybe they thought, right,
definitely,
here we go.
No, definitely. And it goes back to your point as well, Ben, about individual errors. It is stemming down to that at the moment. You look at Dan Burn, you look at Jason Steele just then. Like it is down to big individual errors where it's costing us points. It's costing us games. Yesterday it cost us fitness.
Inexperience, doesn't it? I think that's what it is. We've got a very inexperienced squad. I think
very
if you look all round, really. Very young team. Dunk being our main man at the back. But other than that, you've got a March who's in a new position. Lamptey's been out, but he's, relatively new there. Veltman's not been in the Premier League. White's first season in the Premier League. Webster's second season in the Premier League. So we've got a very, very new team, I think. So maybe that's a point. Individual errors and lack of sort of chemistry between the players, maybe.
No, I agree.
But yeah, that's what I could put on that, maybe.
No, definitely, and also Ben, the fact you mentioned about Dunkey, you know, he's a great leader, he's a great captain, but yeah, is he maybe, are we questioning him maybe to say, look, in that moment there, don't be joking around, don't be bantering, be like, come on lads, right, we've got a couple of minutes to go, let's knuckle down, let's see the game out, instead of him bantering with Ellison. And
you wouldn't see Nemanja Vidic do that, would you? Like, or any other top centre backs at that moment in the game. No, you're a professional. Strict professional. Gary Neville, when he's lining up against his brother in the tunnel, doesn't even look at him. Like, that's professional. Just focused on the match. Focus on your job.
This is very Roy Keane, by the way. This is a very Roy Keane rant, by the way.
See him hugging and kissing afterwards. Just can't believe it. But no, it was mad. Like, you think you're a professional. You got to be focused on your job at hand. Once the whistle blows, you can have a laugh and swap shirts with a 42-year-old. That's cool, but. You know, you're playing the game.
No, I agree. After the 90 minutes, do what you want. You know, have a laugh, whatever. But yeah, when it's literally the last minute, just see it out. Just see the game out. It's so frustrating, and they must get frustrated as well because they're like, right, we don't need 120 minutes against Newport. We don't need that. You know, in terms of fitness and.
My granddad didn't need it as well. He was knackered. I was watching it with him. He's like, "Ben, I really need to go to bed." He was gutted when it went in.
Basically, none of us needed it, and they fucking did it. So.
No one needed it.
Yeah. And then the last player we sort of want to focus on, which, rightly, I think personally, got a lot of stick yesterday. And for me, the past 3 or 4 games, Leandro Trossard. So I've been very critical of Leandro Trossard for the past couple of weeks, and I've sort of noticed his performances have really dipped a lot. And I think yesterday was probably his worst performance in a long, long time for us.
Yeah.
He was shocking. And just to back this up, I have got a stat from our good mate Liam, Albion Analytics. So someone tweeted him going, how many times did Trossard give the ball away today? And he said he had 59 touches in 57 minutes, and he gave the ball away 24 times. Now that is mental. That's mental. Now that is awful. So it wasn't just that. You know, it wasn't just him giving the ball away. Like Ryan, you said about the whole sort of dropping of the shoulders, and you mentioned it in our group chat before as well. I think, definitely a big factor is his attitude at the moment. It feels like he's not really interested.
I think all the time, really.
If you want to sort of elaborate on this, because you mentioned it off air. If you want to elaborate a little bit more about this,
He just doesn't look interested to me. I mean, I'm saying this since back in 2019. When he's not in it, he's not in it. It's like a bit of a Paul Pogba situation at Man United. You know, when Paul Pogba's on it, he's arguably one of the best players in the world, without a doubt. But when you watch, a Paul Pogba who's, too big for his boots, like he is 90% of the time at his time at Man United, he's not interested and he doesn't perform. And I think, whether Trossard is that or not, I don't know. But from what I take of it, whenever I've seen him on the pitch, I just think Trossard's not interested today, so he's not going to do very well. And when he has an absolute terrible game, he's terrible because he doesn't have that sort of fight in him, like with Knockout used to be a bit as well. When he was having a bad day, he would just sulk and that would be it. He would just be in a strop for the rest of the game. And that would be that. And with Trossard, I sort of get that vibe from him as well. And maybe, I don't know what reason it is. He's just one of those people who's just like a good sulk, and it's just frustrating because, as I say, he can be such a fantastic player.
On his day,
we all know it. But it just comes around so little for me, and I do lose it with him a bit. I've got to be honest.
And another factor as well, Ryan, that you mentioned as well was his fitness. You feel like he's sort of let himself go a little bit in terms of fitness and keeping himself fit.
I think he's just spent too much time in the gym. I think because you look at his arms and that, he's huge now. And when Trossard came, when Trossard came, he was this little skinny boy, and he would take players on because he was more agile. And this is a conversation I had with Mikhail Smith. And, he said he got to a point, I think it was on my live stream, and he said he got to a point when he was injured for so long where he was just spending so much time in the gym, he actually got himself too big, and he lost his main thing of being, that little man who can dart in behind, because he was too heavy. So he couldn't actually run that fast anymore. And he couldn't, I noticed Trossard, when he tries to take on a player, he's a bit too bulky. He can't do the step overs like he used to. Yeah. And I just definitely think that's to do with the fact he's bulked out, and if that's the look he wanted to go for, a bit Adama Traore. but he hasn't got that to make up for it. So it doesn't.
Have you not heard? Adama Traore doesn't go to the gym, mate. So
yeah, of course he doesn't.
They're running with that still. They're still going for that.
Ryan doesn't go to the gym, and look at him. Adama Traore definitely.
Oh God, that was a low blow.
That's out of order, Ben.
Come on, but yeah, that's absolutely
no. I think it's a very valid point, Ryan. Like I think there's a lot of factors with Trossard. I feel like it's his attitude at the moment, his fitness, in terms of like you said, his physique. And also what we mentioned earlier about his positioning as well, like maybe he's not being played where he wants to be played. And I think it's just a lot of factors. But me personally, I think he needs time out of the team. I think he needs to be benched for at least a couple of games. Just like we did.
He was benched yesterday, though, wasn't he?
But I mean, it was FA Cup though, wasn't it? I think he's resting him maybe.
Do you think the fitness coaches and those kind of people have any say in like his build? Like, surely they'll be saying, "Look, you're not better when you're smaller. So why are you doing all these weights in the gym? Surely change his diet."
They'll definitely have like written out fitness plans. They'll have a diet plan. They'll have everything done for them. Yeah. So I mean,
whether he's not listening or something like that.
Well, maybe he's not sticking to his diet plan or
at home.
We'll just be speculating here, though. So we're talking absolute garbage.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, but you never know. You never know what
and they'd have more control in it over the weight.
Yeah.
I think so.
No, and also as well, Ryan, that's a very good point. We're big preachers of mental health as well, so you never know. You might even be going through personal problems that we don't know about. So,
true.
There could be a million. There could be a million factors. Yeah, there could be a million factors as to why he's formed. But just to be frank, me personally, I think he definitely needs some time out of the team, and he's just not been up to scratch for me. He's been very, very poor, and it's not just last night. Like I said, I've been quite critical of him for the past few weeks, and I just feel like he needs that time out of the team just to maybe sort of find out what's going on, what's going wrong, sit down with the coaching team, and just sort of sort it out really. Because we all know he can be incredible.
I'm going to say Fabrizio Romano has just tweeted about Caicedo, and he said that negotiations between Independiente, and Brighton had leading the race confirmed. Also, Newcastle were trying in the last hours, work in progress for work permit. And to me, that looks like it's all but done by the work permit.
Amazing.
So,
we're going to talk about it. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into the whole Caicedo thing. But no, that's class. That's very, very promising for us. A very, very promising player. But just before we go on to that, so the last thing before we start talking about potential transfers, let's talk about the penalty shootout and of course, Steele going from what was your cringy tagline, Ben?
Nerves of steel. I know, it's terrific.
So Steele, fair play to him. Like, he literally went. We did a meme about. Well, I did a meme about him saying about how terrible he was. This age, well. But yeah, I mean, we can all admit in that 90 minutes he was horrendous. Like, I don't care what he did after 90 minutes.
I thought he was right in the 90 minutes.
Yeah, I agree with Ben. I don't think he was that bad. No, he had two mistakes. The rest of it was fine.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. All right, fair play. I mean, maybe he wasn't that bad, but he was not great. I mean, he cost us the bloody tie. So, well, in the 90 minutes, he's a big clanger. But anyway, we did a meme about him, and we gave him a bit of stick. But then fair play to him. I put my hands up and went, yeah, fair play. Like, saving 4 penalties is actually mental. Like, no matter how bad the penalties are, no matter how bad they are,
good saves.
To save 4 penalties in a penalty shootout,
all on the line as well. Don't hear any bullshit.
People moaning about. Shut up. Like, just it's so annoying. But fair play to him.
I saw his interview after the game. Did you see it?
Yeah, loved him all that.
Yeah, he's just such a good guy, isn't he? The way he speaks and the way he was saying, keepers will always be remembered for the worst. You make one mistake as a goalkeeper and you get remembered for it. He said, I can pull off 4 saves in a penalty shootout, and still people will still talk about,
especially
the clanger I made.
Especially after his Netflix documentary, Sunderland Till I Die, he was ridiculed for that because I think he was just so shit in the documentary. Like, he got loads of tweets and abuse just because of that documentary. So he's already gone through a lot of shit. And then obviously we picked him up, which was good for him. But it's good to see that he's actually getting some limelight. And obviously,
But that's the thing. Like, I know especially us. Our for example, our Instagram page, we're all about banter. And just to be clear, we never attack someone for it's not like with ill intention. Do you know what I mean? So the memes we make and the stuff like that. I just want to clarify. We don't go to upset anyone, or it's just all. As Richard Keys would say, it's all banter. It was just banter. So yeah, just before anyone gets like butthurt in the comment, in the comment section, please don't be offended. We're not trying to sort of ridicule anyone. It's just all just general banter. If anyone said it about me, for example, I wouldn't care less. So yeah, just so before anyone sort of goes in on us for anything.
They already have any comments about the stuff we're wearing, mate. So don't worry.
Yeah, be kind, guys. Be kind. Yeah, be kind. But no, let's crack on then. So yeah, you just brought up Ryan. Fabrizio Romano has basically said Moisés Caicedo is a pretty much a done deal. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Let's not jinx it. So yeah, we're excited.
The director of their club, I'm not going to bother trying to say that again, confirms that everything is closed and the transfer of Caicedo to a team from England. And it's an interview. It's a talking interview. This thing's verified. 260,000 followers from Ecuador. And he's speaking it. I'm not going to listen to it now. But it's all in Ecuador. Do they speak Spanish over there? Something like that. But yeah. It says here he's confirmed that everything's done between a club in England, which is probably us, I'd assume.
Yeah.
So that looks like a done deal. Whether we're going to loan him out again, I'm not sure.
I think we are to a second division Belgium team. I think.
Yeah, Bloom's Belgium team.
Yeah, Gualacy. It's like G something, isn't it?
I was going to rant about him, Caicedo, whatever his name is. So loads of United fans. Yeah, United fans missed out on him. Or sorry, no, I'll rephrase that. United didn't want to sign him. Like they thought they were going to sign him, didn't want to. They've signed a couple of youngsters recently, so that wasn't part of their plans, like Fabrizio Romano said. So all these United fans going, "Oh, we didn't want him anyway. We'll just sign him off you boys when he wants to leave. You're just a stepping stone." Obviously, we're a fucking stepping stone, you twat. Are you done? We know we're a stepping stone. Yes, we'll sign him for 5.5 million. Then you'll buy him off us for 50 million. You're the fucking idiot there for not signing him. You pay your kit man 5 million a year probably. So 5 million is really not a lot for you. It's quite a lot for us. I don't understand the Man United fan logic is just baffling sometimes.
I mean, majority of big clubs have got.
He's livid. Look at his face.
No, 100%. I agree with you though. Like it's one of those business decisions where it's going to pay off. I believe. Like even worst case. Let's say he flops, which I'm sure he won't. But let's say he does. Worst case, we sell him for 5 million again. Like we're not going to lose money on him. Do you know what I mean? And let's just talk about him as a player then. So. Oh, go on, Ron.
Hang on. I spoke to my mate who's a United fan, little plastic, lives down here. And we went for a little walk during the time where you could walk with one other person. And I think it was when they were linked with him or something. And he was talking about this Caicedo guy and he was saying how he's going to be the next, he's so good. He's like going to be like Kante and Pogba combined and all this. And I was like, mate, I don't know who he is. I don't know who he is. But if you're saying he's good, he's good. I don't know. 2 or 3 days, whatever it is later... And a couple of weeks actually, and now we're signing him supposedly. It's just like I sent him the thing, and he's just like, "Are you serious?" And I was like, "Is this the guy you were on about the other day, the 19-year-old kid?" And he was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, he's coming to Brighton, mate," and he just says. He just acts like he doesn't want him anymore. He's like, "Oh, well, he can't be that good then, can he?"
It's the whole thing, isn't it? It's just the whole thing, like, when guys go to nightclubs and they're after a girl, and when they get rejected, they're like, "Oh, I didn't want you anyway. You're butters anyway." You're like, "I didn't want you." It's like literally, it's just a joke. Like, I wasn't actually trying to get with you. It's exactly the same
for 3 months. It's a joke. It was just banter.
It's just literally Man United fans. It's exactly the same thing. So Caicedo's just giving them the absolute pie to the face, and they're like, "Nah." But to be fair, I think they pulled out. Sort of all joking aside.
Chelsea, West Ham, and I think
Everton.
Yeah, they were
interested. Yeah, they all wanted him, didn't they?
Let's talk about it. So just for people that don't know, I believe he's 19. Is that right? He's a 19-year-old, 19-year-old centre midfielder. He's a box-to-box. I think as Phil Vickery described him, he's a box-to-box midfielder. Very, very like a mould of Well, a lot of people comparing him to Basuma, sort of like for like in terms of his style of play.
Very similar.
Yeah. But apparently he's very good defensively and he's very good attacking. So he's like a box to box, can do both duties. So I'm very excited.
Can actually attack better than him, which is good.
Which is mad. Yeah. So I'm very excited to have him. I know it's not going to be an instant signing, so it's very very much one for the future. But one question, and I sort of we spoke about this, didn't we, Ryan, on the other pods? I've got a question for you. So Ben. What are you? What's the word I'm trying to look for? Are you frustrated that we're not signing ready-made first-team players? Because we're signing a lot of young, talented players, which is great. I'm all for it. I'm not saying let's not do it. I'm just my question to you would be: are we focusing too much on the future and not on the present?
Yes, I would say so. But also, I don't know if I'm chatting shit here, but for some reason, I believe that we have like a budget for looking for the future, and we also have a budget for first team. So I feel like they're two different departments. Yes, I think I would like to see us spend big on an actual first team player. It is a bit tiring now seeing all these youngsters for the future. You know, we're signing Caicedo. Some people think he's going to come in Jan and play straight away, but then no, he's going to get loads of Tony Bloom's team in Belgium, so we won't see him till the summer. Obviously, we signed Moda in the summer. I thought he was going to be a baller. I've only got him in January, so it is a bit frustrating. You're signing these players. Percy Tau signed in 905 days later. He actually plays a game. It is frustrating when we're signing these potential ballers and we never actually see him for like 6 months or 2 years. So yeah, it definitely is frustrating.
Yeah,
I suppose then you could look at it in this way. You look at the majority of our team, bar Lamptey, have had to come through that rank of, you know, coming up as a young player. March being one of them, Dunk, White, Azate, Connolly. You know, we've brought through a lot of talent that has to be edged in. Alexis is he's very slow. I think he's going to be a while, but with this guy, as I say, Alexis McAllister was out there. He was tipped as one of the best out there, wasn't he, in Argentina, in terms of potential, and I don't doubt that he still can be. But with Caicedo, again, he's supposedly the best South African talent out there. South American talent out there right now. So you know, it's great. But I do agree in terms of, you know, to be looking at now, but this is what I said to you as well. We've got to remember, again, what we are. We can't be attracting players that we can sign for 30 mil right now. We can't be, you know, this dream striker that we think of that, you know, can be banging in 20 goals. Who is that realistically? Because, you know, you mentioned Divock Origi, then you look at wages, because he's not going to be, you know, we're not going to take a player on loan to improve them to send back to another club. You know, that's not how we work. I don't think we ever have done. We always loan with this sort of vision that we want to have them as our player. You know, we want to improve our players. We don't want to improve other teams.
So, got a question for you both. But do you think us signing all these youngsters as a potential? Sorry, say if you're interested in joining Brighton, or Brighton are interested in signing you, would it be a turn off that we're signing all these youngsters for the future? Or would you rather the club that you're about to join be signing players for now? Like, would it be a turn-off for Divock Origi to join us because there's no real improvements being made to the first team directly?
I think,
do you know what I mean?
I think it's a very valid point. Yeah, I think some players would definitely look at it and be like, well, they're not improving the rest of the squad. I'm going into a very sort of young, young dressing room and that kind of thing. But then, I don't think people get, I don't think anyone would turn down a move because of that. I don't think it would be like a sole reason for turning down a move because of like how we play and, you know, the structure we've got, etc., etc. But no, I definitely think it's a factor because, I'm frustrated, you know, as a fan to see us signing all these great young players for the future, but not signing players for now that, and you know, we've done that with, let's say, Welbeck and Lallana, but they're just always injured. So it's just like, I want someone who's...
It depends on the player that it is as well, as Ben said. So, you know, if you're a player that's a visionary player, you want to be, you know, maybe a coach in the future, or you want to sort of watch a club progress, then, you know, Brighton is probably one of the best clubs you can come to at the moment for that. Because in terms of our potential, we are right up there, and there's no doubting that. But as you mentioned in the now, as you say, Lallana and Welbeck are always injured. But this is what I'm saying to you. These players that you want right now, they're going to be the likes of the Lallanas, the Welbecks, the ones who are always injured at these big clubs. Because realistically, Divock Origi knows he can probably get a lot more money if he was just go to a European club, potentially, like a European, or a Champions League side that you could get. He knows he could play Champions League European football, so why would he come to us? And, you know, so that's the things we've got to remember. So it depends on the player that it is and, you know, what we are as well. I think I've sort of learned that from Naylor, to be honest. I sound just like a young Andy Naylor now. But I just, that time that we spoke to him, I just sort of took in a lot of what he said. And obviously I've spoken to him a lot over Twitter DMs as well since. And he's just, I've taken a lot of what he said. And unfortunately, as much as we'd like it to be, it's not FIFA career mode. But
and then a final question on this sort of topic then, and it was actually, I think someone on Instagram actually sort of DM'd us this question is, are we well prepared? Let's say, you know, we do get relegated this season, and I think I know what the answer is going to be here, but I'll ask it anyway. If we do go down this season, how well equipped are we to come back up?
Very.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I agree.
Caicedo again in the Championship. Alexis McAllister, Malumbi. We've got so many players. Even Mopé was unbelievable back there. Trossard.
Okay. So the question then on the back of that, so I think we can all agree. I think we're very well equipped in terms of structure, in terms of training facilities, players.
Norwich, they had one of the youngest teams like we did last season, and now they're first in the Championship.
But so my follow-up question is, can we keep hold of these players then? So like you mentioned Mopé, Brian. How do you think he's not like, do you think Premier League clubs will be like, oh yeah, let's grab him, or do you think he's sort of maybe
who's going to want him?
Maybe not. Ben White potentially, someone will want to sign him.
Why? I think he's overrated, to be honest. I like him. Maybe a bit controversial, but I wouldn't really mind if we got rid of White, to be honest.
I think that's just because we're playing him at right back or right wing back.
Yeah, I mean,
we haven't seen him at centre back properly. No,
right wing back. How are you playing Ben White at right wing back? I just don't understand it. Yeah. Why?
To be fair, who else have we got right now? It's only Veltman, and he wasn't very good last
time. Right, yeah, but I'd much rather Veltman at right wing back than Ben White.
Oh yeah, so would I. Yeah, so would I.
It's very frustrating. But let's get away from that. So right, okay, so that was very interesting. Like the sort of the sort of training, and also as well, let's talk about another sort of new arrival, so to speak. Jakub Moder was his first day of training today, so he's potentially now getting sort of introduced into the fold. How excited are we to see him? Obviously, he's a sort of midfielder. He's not an attacker, but how excited are we to see him play?
Ben's going to be buzzing after that voice note that he sent into that chat that night.
Which one?
You're chanting.
Yeah, you're chanting his name. Yeah, he did a Jakub Moder chant.
You're probably very drunk.
We'll save you the embarrassment then. We'll save you the embarrassment. We won't get you to sing it.
What the song was.
But we're all very excited to see Jakub Moder make his first Brighton appearance.
Of course. Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think he can do to the team? Like, what will he add that we don't have in, let's say, Basuma? Because that'll be my big question. Is like, what differences will he make that our midfielders at the moment don't? That'll be my big question.
I guess, we don't know much about him, really, do we? So we're just sort of doing guesswork based on what we've read and watched. Based on what I've looked at of him, I guess you'd look at the height as a definite thing.
Dynamic, innit?
And he seems very two-footed as well, which is nice. Is he? I don't know if he's naturally left-footed or if he's naturally right-footed, because I couldn't really tell based off.
I'm pretty sure.
I think he's left. Yeah, you're right. And I saw him scoring, like 30-yard goals with his right.
Decent ping on him, isn't
he? So that's the sort of thing that I'd like to see from him, like that sort of, and hopefully like a fear factor as well, as we mentioned before, didn't we, about him being the big Polish man in midfield that you're going to be scared of. Like,
that's a very good point.
So hopefully that can be a thing that we don't currently have, and him and Basuma potentially linking up could be very nice to see as well.
It'll be very interesting. my big takeaway from all that is just watching Ben's face when he talks about Jakub Moder. You're in love with him every time you talk about him. You're literally going to have this little smile. So if anyone's watching on YouTube, just rewind that bit where we started talking about Moder and just watch Ben's face. Like, he just looks so happy. Like,
it was like right getting down on one knee, and I was like, I was just so happy.
It's some weird thing. It's like you and Hamill as well. So shout out Hamill.
Yeah, don't get me started.
Yeah, absolutely fanboy.
Shout out Hamill.
Right, and then let's talk about, before we get into the Man City preview, let's talk about the man of the moment, the talk of the town, so to speak. Percy Tau. Yeah, talk of South Africa. Percy Tau. And Ryan, let's start off with you.
Oh, yes.
For people who don't know or aren't aware, Ryan on Twitter, he had, before you started basically rinsing Percy Tau content, you had, how many, 3,700 followers on Twitter?
Yeah, something like that.
Should we call him by his real name, actually? It's Lorette.
How many followers?
Yeah, Lorette, yeah. No, let's talk about that. Right. Okay, so Ryan, how many followers, just quickly, how many followers are you on right now?
I've got 5,621 followers right now.
Okay, so you've grown by roughly sort of 2,000 followers, which is mental. So just for anyone who isn't aware, Percy Tau brought a lot of big following, a big South African contingent to our social media on Instagram and on Twitter. So basically, Ryan's done fair play to you, Ryan, mate. I would do exactly the same if I was you. Just absolutely rinsing the Percy Tau.
Real PR work.
Yeah, fair play. And also, I've noticed as well, the Brighton admin is doing exactly the same thing. I today. He keeps jumping on like the Percy Tau stuff. But fair play, he's getting the numbers. I
replied to it saying "Go to bed, admin" or something like that.
I rate the hustle. I rate the hustle. But also, quickly before we go into Percy Tau and his potential effect on Brighton, we just got to quickly talk about as well, Ryan. You did. Sorry. I got to compose myself.
This is partly down to the training that he's going to learn in South Africa.
Okay. Let me just break this down for everyone. Right, okay. This is I'm going to enjoy this one. Right, so Ryan had some interaction on Twitter with the South African fans, and basically this one South African fan replied to you, didn't he, Ryan, saying this is your African name, isn't it? Like, he gave you like an African name.
He was doing it to like a few people. Yeah. Basically, I put a thing on. I'm pretty sure I said Percy Tau is the best player in the world, or something like that. And it had like something ridiculous, like 200 likes in like a minute. And this guy responded saying, "Your African name is Loretti." And I was like,
"Oh,
cool.
Moretti.
What does that?"
Cheers.
And I was like, "What does that mean? Is it like Ryan in African or something?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Oh, cool." Yeah. So then that was it, really, for about 4 hours.
Yeah. Okay.
And I did search the name. Hang on, before you say, I did search the name, and
you sent it. Sorry, but before you do that, you sent it in the chat, and I was like, "That's cool." But have you definitely checked that definition?
Yeah. And you were like, "Yeah, 100%."
Definition, and it meant something really positive as well. Like, it means something else, like, as well. But it's an old name, and it's obviously been transformed into an insult now. Right. And but before, it used to mean like an actual name, apparently, according to Google. But then Google could just be like lying to me right now.
Yeah.
So then I went to Urban Dictionary when it started, because like literally it was just blowing up. My phone was going mad. I couldn't even see like what was going on. And I was like, right, this is getting retweeted a lot. Like, this is a bit like, I'm getting a lot of messages right now. And I looked at all of it, like laughing, crying emojis, and I was just like, yeah, I'm being done here. So I just put a thing saying, I've been bamboozled, haven't I, here? And like they've set me up, and so I screenshotted the Urban Dictionary, which meant stupid person. So I was like, right, okay, so I've been called stupid, very funny. And I'm not going to say what it actually means, but it's not particularly great. I mean, and
also, in your defence, Ryan, like you said, you weren't the only one to be duped. This guy done about 7...
he was on fire. Fair play to him.
He done about 7 Brighton fans, and basically he was just calling them all insults, basically, and everyone was lapping it up.
And you've done the best thing you could do, though, Ryan, by embracing it, and then the fame kicked on from there. Everyone was replying, saying your name, like,
and you went mini viral as well. I think, like, within the South African Twitter, I think one of the someone tweeted it.
It was trending.
Was it? No way.
Yeah. I was 30th on the trending in South Africa.
So
I just want to say to South Africans, like, genuinely, it was so funny. Like, it was so fun. Like, all of the messages, like, and I was getting people saying, like, we actually love you here now. Like, you don't realise it, but if you come to South Africa, you are loved right now.
That's cool.
And I was like, this is just ridiculous. Like, even though, you insulted me, you call me this, but to me, I was just like, do you know what? Like, let's not take it personally. Like, they're just having a bit of fun.
Listen,
and I was just like, this is hilarious.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like Ben said, if you turn around and be like, oh, like, kicked off about it, that's what you would have looked stupid. Like, it just you embraced it, and that's the perfect thing you can do in that situation. But no, it's fucking hilarious. It's funny as fuck.
And all the South Africans, I got so many messages. So I was just checking my phone, and it's just I don't think I've ever really received that many notifications on Twitter in my life. And I had a tweet that blew up once. I got like 100k, but this tops it by an absolute distance because the South Africans were just unbelievable. Yeah, and I really hope
they've been so funny. They've been so funny.
Yeah, and I hope that their sake, Percy Tau can be a fantastic player because we saw glimpses, didn't we? We saw glimpses like of what he can do, his little skills. He's got a bit of pace. So hopefully he can be a good player because he's come with a full-on army, and I love him. I absolutely love him because, as I say, they brought a lot of positivity as well. Like, I haven't seen Brighton Twitter in since 2013. I've been on it. I haven't seen them like that positive since probably God knows how long. It's been
let's see how long that lasts, Ryan, eh?
Yeah, let's hope so. Yeah.
We'll see how long. But no, I thought he looked lively, he looked good. You know, the pitch obviously again, you know, it doesn't help. On your first appearance, you don't want to be playing on that kind of pitch. But no, fingers crossed. I personally would love to see him start in a front three against Man City, because let's be real, and we'll get onto the Man City preview. But let's be real. Me personally, I'm looking at it as a free hit. So why not play, you know, the likes of Percy Tau, you know, the players that we don't really get to see much of, and you know, excited. No, even Zakiri, you know, give them a chance against the elite. Let's be real, they're arguably the best team in the league right now. You know, give them a run. And Percy Tau, I think, will fit perfectly. You know, he's going to be up for it. He'll be absolutely buzzing. And people have said that he's a very professional and you know, professional person, and he'll come in and I think he'll really hit the ground running. I'm really excited to see him, to be honest.
What a moment for him, though. You know, playing in the FA Cup and then Wednesday, hopefully playing against Man City. Like that must be that he must feel so good. Like must feel so, and especially after what he's achieved.
Yeah, and like you said, after 905 days of not being able to play for us, he's now come in and played the FA Cup, which is a massive competition, you know, around the world, it's renowned, and then to come potentially, like you said, play against Man City in the Premier League, like that must be a mad first week for him.
He said it was really tough for him, didn't he? Because of the fact that he signed, he thought, oh, I've achieved my dream of playing in the Premier League, gets hit back with a work permit, has to wait 2 years. Like that could really affect someone's mentality of, you know, you think you've achieved your dream, and then all of a sudden you've got to wait 2 years, 2.5 years.
Not back.
Yeah, must have been tough. So
credit to him.
Yeah, credit to him.
No, and he went out and played in Belgium, and you know, I was speaking to one of my friends and a couple of other people, and we mentioned the fact that he didn't look prolific in Belgium, and you could argue, you know, Belgium isn't the highest standard in the world, and he didn't look prolific. He scored a fair few goals, but I don't think we should really base it completely on stats and, you know, goals, and because you know we easily do that, don't we? As fans, we get very much into the stats and goals.
Pressing was something that stood out. That's when I read the Albion analytics thing. Like one of the most standout traits he had was his pressing. So if we can have a little bit of Craig McCall-Smith on that, that'd be great.
And what company said about his work ethic? He's just a hard worker, and that's all you can want, isn't it?
Yeah.
Even if he goes and doesn't do as well. I just love players that work hard. Yeah. And you know, it goes for anyone really. If you work hard, you have my respect. And I think 100%. With Percy Tau, if you work hard,
respect.
You're going to have the fans love. Like that's just how it works in football.
Do you know who he reminds me of? Not in terms of playing ability, because you know this guy I'm going to mention is like, he's like world class. But like, do you know, he reminds me like a bit like Sadio. No, not Jahanbash. Sadio Mane. Like in terms of, you know, always
in the world.
No, he's honestly like, you know, he's such a, you know, Sadio Mane is such a happy guy. He's hardworking. He's quick. You know, he's got a lot of like the same. I wouldn't say. Look, I'm not comparing him. I'm not saying he's going to achieve what Sadio Mane has achieved.
Why not?
He's the Lion of Judah.
Yeah, but like, like in terms of like how he comes across, like how I look at him, and I think, he's got like, you know, he's a happy chappy. He works hard. He's pacey. He's skillful. Like I feel like he can be that kind of player for us. Hopefully,
hope so.
Fingers crossed. He'll do that for us. But anyone who's watching or tuning in, let us know what you think in the comments down below. What you think, you know, he might be able to provide us, and how excited you are about him. Because we're all very excited about him, and see what he can do. And the final thing, boys, let's talk about Man City then. Me and Ryan just come off of a podcast, and we spoke to the Man City, a big sort of Man City podcast, and we weren't exactly the most what's the word? We're quite pessimistic, weren't we, Ryan? In terms of our score prediction, I think Ryan predicted 4-0. I predicted 3-0 Man City, and Ben, what's your predictions straight off the bat?
You know what, man? So I'm going to go with you. I'm going to say, no, not actually. I'm going to go Ryan. 4-0, yeah. 4-0. I was thinking 3. No, that would be good. 3-0 would be good.
So we are being very, very pessimistic. We are being very pessimistic, but I think
hard to do, though, isn't it? You know, we've got Welbeck, Lallana, Connolly.
They're just so sweaty. They're so sweaty. Like, you look at all their goals. They're literally like, and then, you know, credit to them. They score the goals. That's their style of play. Through ball, and then a cut across goal, and then it's a 6-yard tap in. You know, and then they score the occasional banger. But so many of their goals are just tap ins like that, and it must be so hard to play against.
Yeah,
but that goes credit to Pep, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
breaking the ability to break a team down to get to that position
constantly
is
we can't do it.
So hard to do. And credit to them because they've been right up there for the last 3 years.
Well, and that's the thing. Not only the last 3 years or 4 years, whatever it is. Like in the last I think they're unbeaten. What is it? Last 7 now, last 8 they're unbeaten now, and they're really starting to hit the ground running now. Like they're really finding their form. I think Chelsea was the big one for me. It was like when they battered Chelsea in that first half. For me that was like, okay, they're back. Like I think they were struggling a little bit. You know, they were picking up results still, but they didn't look like the Man City
quality of the goals they scored against Chelsea as well.
Yeah, they just looked like
high quality.
Yeah, they look like. I looked at them and I was like, right, City are back, Man City. And for me personally, this is the worst time we could have played them. For me, like, I would have rather played them at the beginning of the season where they were like, you know, they didn't look their best. They were sort of stumbling through. But now they look like they're back. You know, Kevin De Bruyne is firing. You know, you look at all the other players they've got. You know, they've got incredible
the team
players.
Is just stacked.
Oh, silly. And mate, let's talk about one player I do want to focus on is their defensive player. So Ruben Diaz, and rightly so. He's been getting a lot of praise, and he is incredible at the moment. Like he's on fire, and John Stones, to be fair to him, you know, those two centre halves, they've really been. I think they haven't conceded a goal in or one goal in like 8 games or 7 games or something crazy.
That will change. That's going to change. That's going to change.
Hit him for 3 in the week. That's all good.
Yeah.
No,
how hopeful are we of penetrating that Ruben Diaz and Stones partnership?
Mate, they haven't played Percy Tau before. So, you know,
they met
their match on Wednesday. Exactly. No, joking aside, I'm not looking confident, mate. I mean, as I say, we've got so many players out. Basuma's also out, isn't he?
So we got out. Danny Welbeck's out, Lallana's out, Connolly's out, Tarek's out, Basuma's out because obviously suspended. Jahanbash is doubtful. What a shame.
Yeah.
But yeah, inside source, someone messaged us, Mass, didn't they?
Listen,
might be coming back. But
let's talk about this just quickly. So we got a DM. We got a DM on Instagram. We'll keep the identity secret for now. But if this comes through,
we're going to be approached by the Brighton media team in a minute.
If this comes through, we're going to have to maybe tap into him a little bit more. But he has assured us. He's assured us that we're going to be starting with a front 3 of Percy Tau, Shaqiri and Izquierdo, which is going to be a big one. Which I'll be honest, I'll go straight
to me. That just doesn't sound true.
Yeah, Izquierdo, who's played no minutes all season to play his first ever game of the season against City. I just don't see it. But fair play. If this source comes through,
would you? You wouldn't put that.
That's very true. We could be playing Potter Bingo. Potter Bingo could be coming through, and but to be honest, I wouldn't be upset if he plays a completely random shit team against City as long as he plays a strong side.
We've got Leeds, haven't we? The next game,
I'll happily take a loss against Man City to then win against Leeds. Happily.
Oh god, any day of the week. I mean, we're looking at that game. We're on the back of, as I said, we're on the back of this Newport result, which. Yeah, okay, we won, but players aren't very confident. We only played last night. We've got a game on Wednesday. Half the team are out. And that's against City, which can be a big confidence knocker. Yeah. And then we're coming up to a Leeds side who, after all that hype and, you know, giving it the large to each other on Twitter over the last 6 months, it's going to be like a cup final.
Yeah, some weird rivalry some weird rivalry.
It's strange. But we've always disliked each other, even going back into the Championship days. I've never liked Leeds. I've always hated Leeds. And I think I always will, just because I just don't like the way they get all the media attention. It does my head in. And I think when they lose 6-2 to United, and they're being said as if they were the ones that won 6-2. I mean, credit to them. At least they really showed them character going to lose 3-0 at Crawley the other day.
I'd take 6-2 against City on Wednesday. That'd be good.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be very impressed if he scored 1 goal, let alone 6. But
they just keep coming forward. They're just amazing, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you're talking about Man City or Leeds. Right? You're confused.
Leeds. I'm talking about Leeds.
You will be saying about.
I hate Leeds. I don't care how salty I sound. I literally don't care.
Talking of Leeds. Of course, that is going to be our next podcast, and we are going to have a guest, a Leeds fan, on. We have got my boss, my boss Josh Akers, who's a big Leeds fan.
Podcast time, wouldn't he?
Oh, will it?
Yeah, because we'd have City.
Yeah, because we've got to do a City roundup.
And then... Oh, my bad. So I'm jumping the gun. So forget everything I just said. For the last 15 seconds. But yeah, there we go, boys. That was our sort of podcast after the Newport game, and of course looking forward to the Man City game. So fingers crossed.
Before you round it up, I'm just going to say, rest in peace to Sue Addis, the co-owner
of course. Apologies. Yes.
Horrible news. Whatever.
Yeah. So
whatever happened there is just disgraceful.
Let's just quickly let's talk about that because Ryan, it's a very very well said. So if no one was aware, unfortunately, I believe Sue Addis, she was the owner of Donatello's or co-owner of Donatello's, who any Brighton fan will know. Throughout the years, they really supported Brighton. They were on all the billboards with Dean. I think they had like big sponsorships. Shirt sponsorships. So a big sort of part of Brighton Hove Football Club, and of course Sue was a big part of that. It's crazy. So again, for people who aren't aware, really sadly, she was taken by someone, I believe, stabbing her. Is that right?
Something about that, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was like.
I don't want to speculate, but apparently that's what it is.
Yeah,
a boy.
So it was
apparently
reported.
17-year-old boy.
Right, so it was reported that a 17-year-old killed Sue, which horrible, disgraceful news. And we're really as Seagulls Social as a podcast, we're really sorry to hear the horrible news, and we wish them all the best in their time of grievance. And we hope that we can maybe hopefully the club can maybe do something nice. And I'm sure we actually wore black armbands, didn't we, last night for Sue. And hopefully the club can set up something as well for that as well. So fingers crossed we can get something as well. But definitely rest in peace, Addis. And we send all our loves and condolences to the family and Donatello's as well. So thank you very much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Of course, please like, comment, and subscribe. It does mean a lot if you're watching on YouTube. And of course, keep streaming on Spotify and Apple. And we'll be here for the Man City fallout, which hopefully won't be too bad. Peace.
Bye.